Okay, so I'm at your door and you've already given me consent to open it, so I'm opening it. And just so you know that when I'm all done and I step out, I make sure the door is closed behind me and the it's nice and sealed by Archangel Metatron. That way nothing can come in or out that's not supposed to be. So when I open the door, I just see like this pink mist. There's a sense of pink to me is very gentle and soft, and also comforting. So it feels like right now you're really in a state of needing comfort, and maybe looking outside of yourself for that comfort, where your soul is saying, be gentle with yourself, try and give yourself the comfort, okay? And be okay with that, because I know sometimes it's like, I have to comfort myself still over and over and over, and yes, yes, it is frustrating, and sometimes it can cause a little bit of depression because we're hoping for those external validation, but your soul's like, you're already validating yourself. And so even if someone is speaking to you and giving you the love you need and validating yourself, maybe sometimes you don't believe it, or there's still something in you that's like, I wish they said a little bit extra. um but don't worry about that. That's just seems to be what's coming up right out of the gate. So just make sure you're gentle with yourself. Pamper yourself when you get a chance. Um, and it doesn't mean you have to go spend money or anything like for a massage. You can maybe find a friend that's a massage therapist, maybe do a trade with them. Say, I'll do your dishes if you give me like a 30-minute massage or something like that. Or paint your nails, give yourself a manicure, just find ways to pamper yourself and make yourself feel really good about it, okay? Letting this mist clear. And so what I'm seeing is just this big, huge road in front of me. It's kind of like a dirt road. There's some stones in it, maybe some pebbles that um, it's almost like you feel like as you go through your path, you're being tripped up a little bit. And that's really just kind of a perception, an illusion, because when you run into these challenges, it's not that these things are happening to you, they're happening for you. And the reason why they're happening for you is for your personal growth, for your awareness, um, lessons that are meant to be learned in this lifetime. Like one of these lessons that seem to be maybe repeating for you, and this is a past life thing. um yeah, to me this doesn't make sense, but maybe it'll make sense to you. So what I'm seeing is like people kind of walking around in a circle. There's like kind of like, uh that dance where everyone holds hands and goes around in a circle. For some reason that's slipping my mind.
Mhm,
But as they circle around,
mhm.
uh, each one stops in front of you, and then there's another circle, and then another person stops in front of you. So it's when I see that, it's kind of like the same story but different person, and it's been hard to detach from that storyline or the patterns that you have been seeing. This doesn't necessarily mean it's a love partner. It could be work, a colleague, a boss. It could be a family member. It could be friends. It can be all sorts of different things. So apply that message to the right area of your life. Um, and and the lesson is about not getting so reactive. There's a sense where like so our emotions are literally just chemical processes in our brain, and then when we get quote unquote triggered, these chemicals um flare up and then flood our body. And so that's why it feels like our emotions are so big, right? It's because we have all these chemicals moving through our body really, really fast. And if you can remember that emotions are literally just chemicals, that might help you step back for a moment and see the other person as they are. Because a lot of times whenever someone says something to you or does something to you that's like kind of hurts or triggers you in some way, um, it's because of something about them. They're just projecting their stuff onto you, and because you're so empathic, they, um, they assume that you're okay taking that energy for them so that they feel better, you know? When, when people say that, people put others down or do stuff to someone that is hurtful, um, that does say a lot about them, but the thing that, is missing in that statement is that what's being said about them is the way they feel about themselves and how they project that onto you, and then because you're empathic, you can't help but want to nurture that part of them, but still be so flared up by your own emotions that it's easy to react to the stimuli that's coming at you, whether it's words or actions. So the lesson here is to recognize first that that's what's happening in those situations. Two, to accept what is happening, um, and not necessarily why it's happening, but more about having compassion for that other person for the pain they feel while still holding your own boundaries. Like, okay, I see you. I see you're having pain or frustration, anger that may not be because of me. Maybe something happened earlier in the day and they're just carrying that low vibrational energy with them forward and forward, and most likely you're not the only person that's getting projected onto. So it's having the compassion that maybe someone's in pain, but also recognizing for yourself that you can be empathic and compassionate towards someone, but you do not have to take on their stuff. You don't have to match their emotional energy. Yes, you'll have your own emotions that you'll need to regulate at some point, because your nervous system is so stimulated. But this is more about maintaining the boundaries that you have already built for yourself. Because as an empath, you're very nurturing, you want to help others. And some people, they need to help themselves. And that's a lesson that they have to learn. And then a lesson that we have to learn is to let people help themselves. We can't do it all, especially when we're in our own soup of life. Like, okay, my life has XYZ going on. I don't technically have the energetic capacity to take someone else's stuff on, to cradle that for them. You can cradle them in a hug. You can cradle them with compassion, or even just being the listener. Um, but as long as you maintain your own boundaries of like, okay, that's your stuff. This is my stuff. Have you ever seen that movie, Dirty Dancing?
Mm, Yeah, probably a zillion years ago. And I get this a lot. I get it. Like I've been in a healing work for a really long time.
Hmm. Yes. Do you have certain boundaries that you already have in place for your clients, your when you're in your actual healing sessions?
Um, yeah, my sessions are fine. It's more like my personal relationships, where I give people more space sometimes than they don't want to use word deserve, but um like more like reciprocity.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely understand that. So something you can do is those boundaries, those energetic boundaries you use in your client sessions, bring them forward into your interpersonal relationships. It doesn't mean you're closing them off or being completely detached, but it's more about protection and self-preservation for yourself so that those interactions, those interpersonal reaction actions are easier to be observed versus
Yeah.
immersed in. You know what I mean?
It's right now what I had my own clarity around. It happened actually a couple of days ago. It's really even it's as simple as just giving time to other people. Like I have to give more time to myself
Right. Yeah.
than to others.
Yeah. And are you able to do that then? Like take that time for yourself to decompress and let your nervous
Hmm.
system relax?
Yeah.
No? Or
Yeah.
oh good. Good, good, good. Yeah, that's where the pampering, that first message about the pampering comes in. So,
Hmm.
make sure you treat yourself to beautiful things that you love. And I know, today is a holiday, so this is the perfect day to treat yourself to something that you like. I'm just gonna see what else comes forward. So that's really the big lesson around this group of people that keeps coming around. It's like it kind of feels like the similar conversations you're having over and over with someone, or a new person comes in that has a similar attitude. You know what I mean? There's these cycles there, and
Hmm.
you will be able to step away from that group. You will be able to grouping of people when you allow yourself to use the boundaries you've already know and practice against, not against, but for yourself within those interpersonal relationships. And so that's the big lesson for you in that place. And then, of course, everything else will unfold the clarity around it and will unfold um, outside of that. But it seems like you're really close. It's almost like you've backed away a little bit without letting those other people feel like you're completely detached from them. So you're doing a really good job in that sense. Okay. I'm gonna see where else they're taking me now. I see. Wow. I see kind of like farmland. Um, I'm not sure if it's like actual farmland, but definitely big, big property. I see lots of animals. I see big, huge gardens. So, and like this beautiful home. Do you live out in the country?
No,
No, is that something
I
that's been
wish.
okay? So it
And
has been calling to you then.
yeah, it's not necessarily I wish, like I have been feeling like I'm not sure where I need to go, where I need to live and all that. But home, whatever it, and it may can be like a farmland in the countryside, but home in itself has been my like core wound.
Okay. All right. So that's why that's coming up. So, um, this seems like this is I'm hearing past life situation. And I'm seeing it's like little fires have popped up around this property. Um, and I see you as a young woman, kind of blonde, blue-eyed, running around with water buckets and then finally giving up. Um, and so that may be why this aspect of the core wounding of home um originates according to your soul, your soul's storyline. And so here in this lifetime, you may have kind of felt like your home life or the sense of home has had little fires along the way that haven't been able to be put out, or if they have been put out, there's damage left behind. Does that sound um, familiar?
Um, Maybe in some ways it's much more dramatic than that.
Yeah, this is just the way your higher self is translating it. So, um, fire, when something on fire, it's really dramatic, right? Because like
Mhm.
you don't know how it started, um, and you don't know if it can get out or be put out. You don't know if there's going to be lots of damage. So, um, it can be super traumatic in its own way. Um, and I'm like actually kind of shaking right now. There's I'm feeling that wounding you have. But that image that they're showing me again, still on that farm, the house, the beauty of it all, they said it's not all lost to you. So in this lifetime, because you have been putting out those quote unquote little fires in your life as time goes, there's been a lot of healing around those circumstances. Um, so the fire in that past life, the karma of that has been cleared. So you have been doing a lot of healing work for yourself and of course with clients, but also with the clients, you're learning more about yourself at the same time. And that's helping you clear karma like that. So what I'm hearing is your higher self says your your forever home is already there. There's a sense of aligning to it, and it's not just aligning to the property. There's some people that needs to come in alignment with. I don't feel like you're going to be there alone. I feel like this may be like a community type of place if you're open to that, um, or at least another family there with you to help run the farm. So the I'm hearing by the end of this year, you will have already met these people and started building relationships with them. You may not have started talking about a community just yet because you guys are just getting to know each other. Um, but I do feel like this is your year to really step out of different types of core wounding and finally move forward onto the next cycle of life, right? So, yeah, your soul is just like when I look at it specifically, just your soul, not the story itself. Um, I see just this bright light just embodying you, and and I hear like the shadows around it because sometimes when I look at the soul itself, I see this bright light, but with like smudges all around it. But yours does not look like that. Yours looks like you've cleared a lot of stuff away from your karmic imprints you came into this life with. And that's why this year you'll see more turnaround. Like there aren't going to be big fires anymore. Maybe little tiny ones that are easy to put out, but the big stuff has been cleared. Now, when it comes to that home wounding, what I'm hearing is that um it's you've already cleared the karma. Now you're just working on clearing the energetic signature of it. Um, and so maybe a cord cutting might be good for you, um, to have the cords cut between all aspects of home for you so that it's just your energy there, not other stuff pulling at you, right? And then there'll be more clarity coming through. I I'm hearing more peacefulness as this healing work continues, but your higher self does want you to know that that home core wounding is, I'd say, about 87% healed. It's just that last, the final, that final mile of the marathon always feels the hardest, right? It's that final push. I don't know if I can make it. I'm breathing too hard. I just need to sit for a minute, but you really don't. You can push right through those barriers and move to the other side. And this feels like the year that's happening for you. Woo, that was a lot.
I
Excuse
have a
me.
question.
Yes.
So, because I've been struggling with this my whole life and so much, it's been very painful. Like in last couple of years, I start to think, am I supposed to have a home? Like, is a home what I need? Or should I just accept that I should maybe be a traveler? In the quotes, traveler. Like,
Mm.
um, though I've always felt like I love traveling, but I've been feeling stuck. And I'm like, is 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 all of these struggling so much around home telling me that I should even let go idea of the home? Or and maybe that's that cord cutting you're talking about. Or is it, but I've always felt like I need to have at least a home base. I do need to have a place to land. Like I don't know that I've lived my whole life in instability, and it's so hard.
Hmm.
It feels hard to me.
Yeah. There's I'm really feeling like there's a pull towards home itself.
Hmm.
Like I like what you said about the home base. Definitely having a home base where you can be at for extended periods of time, and then when you feel like traveling, that's when you go. But there's the main part of cord cutting is not only energetically separating yourself from circumstances or thought processes or feelings, um, it's also about letting go. So when we start letting go of expectations, our wants, and our wishes, and just giving it up to God or the higher source that you appreciate and love, and just say, I give it to God. And then let it settle there. That's a big part of letting go. When we're wanting and wishing for something so badly and feel like it's such a huge need, we kind of have this kind of like horse reins, we're holding on real tight. But if we just let go of those horse reins, let go of this thought and energetic control of how the situation might look like in the future, um, that's when spirit and God can start getting the manifestation process going on the other side of the veil. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, the traveling is definitely up to you. They're saying take your vacations, go travel. If you feel like being a nomad for a month, awesome. But know that you will have a home base. There will already be people there to maintain the home too. So that's helpful in that sense, where your home isn't just going to be empty and cold when you get home. You know what I mean? You'll
Mm-hmm.
you'll come home with a warm reception. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do both, but I'm really feeling like there's the home aspect is kind of more the bigger energy, at least over the next, I'm hearing 5 years. So, but this is the year where a lot of the karma is cleared, or excuse me, the karma is already cleared. It's more about the mental and emotional energy around it. All right. Let me see what else is coming up. I'm hearing I'm hearing like a voice from behind me. I'm like kind of standing in that mist again, that pink mist, but I'm hearing this voice behind me. It's a very masculine voice coming forward. Um, I'm hearing husband. Did you lose a partner?
No,
No? Okay.
no.
No. Wonder why they're saying husband. Huh. They're saying don't worry about that. So maybe it's like a twin flame type of feeling to it. That doesn't mean we get together with our twin flames or have romantic connections with them. I just feel like that's why they're saying that. Um, but it's like they're singing to me. They're singing a song saying take it slow, take your time, there's no rush. And that's on purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
if you ever have times where you feel like this sense of urgency or that you don't have time to complete XYZ, um, just know to kind of stop. That's when you give yourself those breaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also, right,
Mm-hmm.
try to give yourself a mental break as well. Um, that may be where it's at. It's the mental you know, wheel is turning fast, even if your body is relaxed. So and then also throughout the year of things you want to accomplish or hoping to accomplish, um, there's always divine timing. So
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing you really need to do to make big blessings happen. What's meant for you is meant for you. Fate and destiny is fate and destiny. Okay? So allow those big things to just kind of simmer and take form on the other side of the veil while you keep doing what you're doing. Don't change
Mm-hmm.
yourself for anybody. Could stay yourself. If you're in a big group and you're starting to, because I know you can read the energy of a room. And if you're starting to feel uncomfortable, that's a good time to excuse yourself, either, leave or take a break from the group, go hide in the bathroom for like 5 minutes or something, just recollecting your nervous system energy. And that's because you are an empath. Empathics pick up a lot of energy, and sometimes it can get overwhelming to the system. Um,
Mhm.
and it feels
Mhm.
and it feels like there's other stuff that's overwhelming your system. So definitely make sure you take that step back. Um, uh, Try not to mentally hurry something along, because then it'll just feel like it's never coming, right? And that's part of the
Yeah.
letting go process, is just to trust that your spirit team has your back and they are preparing your blessings for you. So you don't have to do anything about it except for be yourself, keep doing what you're doing, and allow these blessings to come in. Because I don't feel like it's going to be a big blessing right out of the gate. Kind of feels like it trickles in. And at the end of all this trickle, you'll see this big wide ocean and be like, oh, okay. I see why it came in little by little by little. Because if you get the big blessing, the big, huge thing, it's going to be so overwhelming that you're going to be like, no, I don't think that's for me. And then you push it away and delay it even more. So, try and recognize, accept, and be grateful for the little things, your little wins, your little victories. Those are signs of the blessings that are trickling in. Okay?
Yeah. I can see that. So I have a question
Yeah.
that relates to these. So I recently had self-realization that um it has to do, I feel it has to do with me finding home and that core wounding. And it was around, like, I always thought that, like, I haven't been able to find home because I grew up in lots of instability, and
Mhm.
like we were always on the run and all that, and like more of that kind of story later on, and just stayed with me
Yeah.
until a couple of weeks ago I came to realize that there was also this aspect where none of us in my family, of my sisters, we were not welcome, and because of the whole family drama that was going on,
Mhm.
but like as a babies, um and but that also connected me to this greater story of, like, when that revealed itself, um I saw also connection to the heart space and heart energy and heart people not being welcome.
Oh.
And because I do a lot of my work is on all levels. So like when I'm what I do for myself, I do a lots of like it connects into collective and beyond.
Mhm.
And um so these heart welcoming and feeling welcome into the world, being welcome into the world. So I started to practice welcoming myself. Um, and what I want to say with this story, I've been doing a lots of homework,
Mhm.
like on all levels. And I call this having a land contract. So land contract is contract with Mother of Everything, Mother Earth, that hold us here. And um, I think my question is, and I'm honored to have been doing this work,
Mhm.
and I know that a lot's what I've been going through had to do with me,
Mhm.
like witnessing and processing and seeing the emotional charges being discharged, and this is preventing some other stuff from happening, because if we don't discharge from the collective, we'll have blow ups in the collective, as sometimes we see, especially lately.
Yeah. Mm.
And um,
You absolutely got that one right, for sure.
so
Yeah.
my question is kind of like, I've been honored, but I'm also really, I'm actually, my heart is tired. I've been feeling stuff in my heart. I'm like, am I going to survive to see, you know,
Mhm.
not necessarily like the end of journey, but like I feel like I need to feel some lightness and some. I've been working on alignments for so long, and I need to know joy
Mhm.
that
Um,
results from alignment
mhm.
of mother
Um,
and father.
yeah. So, yes, you're gonna survive, okay? When we have a lot of heart space, wounding, it does feel like we're not gonna survive. We're like, "Oh god, it's so much that I'm just gonna, lose out on life, even though I've done so much." So, um, alignment happens throughout life. It's like we go through a big healing process and then we align to something specific. And then we go through another healing process and we align. It's like, the peeling back the onion kind of thing. And it sounds like what you're saying is part of the home wounding is also abandonment and neglect, and not necessarily from your family, but from the collective. And I'm really sorry that you and your family have been persecuted so much. That is definitely an energetic signature that can get stuck in the body, especially the heart space, because that's where we carry those um those hopes, wishes of love for the self, love for our family, love for humanity. And when humanity um, disappoints us, then it's real easy to focus on that piece of the heart. But what I'm um, stepping outside of the Akashic records, I'm looking at just your chakras, and your heart chakra is actually really big. It's you have so much love to give, and that's where turning that love you're sending externally, turning it back into yourself. Um, and I'm not talking about being introspective, because you've already done that. And it sounds like with the work you've done, you're clearing some karma from past lives and then ancestral karma as well. Um, and so having this heart space feel so heavy, so filled up, and maybe even feeling pain, radiating down arms or your legs, or just those aches and pains that we get as we get older anyway. Um, and having the fear that's associated with the heart space. But I'm really seeing that your heart space is actually really bright. You are a super caring and loving woman. You are very talented in your healing practice. So make sure that you market yourself. You tell people, "Hey, I got sessions available. Come see me." It's like that's part of the self-love is reaching out and magnetizing clients to you. Um, Now let me look more into that heart space in relation to the Akash. Here's another one. I'm feeling shaky again. I just needed to clear the energy real quick. There's a what I see is almost like a not a carnival, but like an acrobatic show, where you seem to be energetically doing backflips or bending backwards, constantly. It's like you've you've bent yourself backwards for so many people, so many situations, and even stuff that you had no control over, especially as a child. Um, just accepting your fate in those traumatic situations. And I can understand why you have that home wounding. There's been a lot of disruption um, in that state for you. But your higher self wants you to maybe make a list or a gratitude list of all the things that are working out for you, how your needs are being met at this point, and maybe shifting your perspective that way so that that acrobatic type of feeling where bending backwards is standing up straight. And it's almost like now you're just juggling balls. So there's a shift in the energy, you're upright, um, but you're still juggling some stuff, but you're happier about it. It doesn't feel as intense. So coming back to that heart space when we have these abandonment um, wounds, um, can affect our sense of worth as well. Um, Especially because you guys have been persecuted, you have been having to be on the run. Um, Probably even hiding at some point. So there is that sense of, well, I mean, am I even worth being seen? Is it safe for me to be seen? Is it safe for me to have a stability? So maybe also, have you looked at the fears that you encountered as a child, like doing child work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it feels like there's a little bit more to learn there. But you don't need to go on deep dives anymore. Your higher self, or actually your soul itself. I see you in different forms, so I'm expecting different lifetimes, different dimensions, different timelines of you having a book. Um, so I don't know if you considered writing a book about your experience when you were younger and how it relates and affects you now as an adult. That can be very healing and cathartic. But, even just journaling your experience, getting it out of your head and into paper somewhere that's just out of your head. You know what I mean? And when you
Mm-hmm.
do that, then the emotions follow that, and then the heart space, which relates to emotions, of course, can start feeling that light again because the light isn't gone. It's there. Maybe there's this kind of like that misty bubble around it, so it's hard to see into the light and trust that it's there. So this is going to take some trust and writing. So definitely start at bare minimum journaling about your experience and maybe even writing a book about your experience, which is going to be super healing, super cathartic. Um, and that's something that you have the opportunity to do this year. So it's all
Mm-hmm.
about just starting. It's the starting it is the hard part. But once you start, then it gets easier to discipline yourself to keep writing and just keep going until your story's done. And that's
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, a story can, especially your story, because it's happened over probably decades of stuff, so um yeah, that's kind of what your higher self is suggesting. Especially your soul's like this has happened before, um, in different ways, not necessarily the home, but in these other lives, these other forms that you have taken, um, has gone through certain types of trauma, various types of trauma, and used the tool of journaling or writing a book to um, to help you. And that's another thing I'm bringing back to that acrobat, that there's this standing up, this sense of like standing tall. And when you do that, your whole system flows so effortlessly, right? And you're feeling light. And and joy is, um it's a hard one to really chase, you know, um, because it can be fleeting. Maybe one day you're joyful and then the next day you have a crash. That's very common with empaths. That I call it that pendulum swing. It's like
Mm-hmm.
when you're up here, it feels amazing, you're joyful, um, you're happy, everything's going right, and then when it swings back down, then you kinda get this, like, just, okay, maybe I overdid it or something's triggering me," until you go back up, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so using those tools of getting the information out of your head is definitely, um part of your path in every single lifetime. So it's like, um part of your mission or part of your soul story is the writer, is the storyteller. Not only the
Mm-hmm.
storyteller, but the story keeper as well, because you have the capacity to hold it and then put it right here and hold it out here versus inwards. This is getting to be a lot, kind of deep here. Um, okay. I'm seeing if there's anything else that wants to be brought up before we close out the session. I keep seeing stained glass windows, kind of like a church. Did you grow up in a church, or are you in actively going to church?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Um, there's something about when you are in those buildings, take time to pick one of these stained glass windows or two or three and give yourself some time to just stare at it and meditate. There is a sense that this is where um, that feeling of peacefulness will settle into your body, and it's kind of like practice. It's like when you're in those spaces, you're meditating, you're allowing yourself to just ground and quiet. That's where you feel that peacefulness. And so when you're in the outside world doing whatever and you feel that, you know that, okay, I recognize this feeling. This is a sense of peacefulness that I actually have in my body. Um, and so, your soul's like, you already have moments of peacefulness. So just tap back into those memories, especially the somatic body memory of feeling peacefulness, um, because there's more of it there than you think. And life
Mm-hmm.
isn't about being joyful all the time. Life is about being content, satisfied, having your needs met, and feeling a sense of purpose. Okay, so
I'm not asking to be in a continual joy. I
mhm,
have never had joy in life. I
okay,
want to know joy, so that's what I'm asking, to know it.
okay.
Um, and um, yeah, there is more to that, but and sometimes I just say it out loud so that I'm like announcing it, you
Mhm.
know, to the universe.
Mhm.
Um,
Um,
and part of the seeking it's part of my like a journey, it's like I'm going towards this to know this again,
yeah,
like I haven't had a time of innocence when I was a child.
dang. That's a lot. You've carried a lot. There's no doubt about that. Um, the what I'm hearing is practicing those moments of peacefulness um is really going to show you or give you, oh wow, all of a sudden a rainbow just like popped up into my eyes. So this is definitely something for you to pay attention to is recognizing moments of peacefulness in your body is going to give you clarity around moments of happiness that you have had over the years, maybe not when you were younger, when there was more fear than happiness, but in the most recent years, moments where it was easy to smile,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
you did feel happy for yourself, where
Mm-hmm.
you did feel for someone else. Those are moments of joy. They may not feel like, kind of like I was talking about your blessings, how it's like a big blessing isn't going to come through. It's just going to be trickles until you finally see the ocean. That's the same thing with um, traveling with joy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so I feel like you've actually already felt it before. It's more about recognizing when it happened and feeling it in your body somatically, like, okay, I remember that time where this thing made me laugh out loud, like one of those big belly laughs, something that
Mm-hmm.
was so entertaining. That is an aspect of joy. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so, so know that you have experienced it in those little bits. You have the memory of it in your body. So tap into your somatic memories. When you're meditating, definitely tap into your body and see what your body's telling you. And set the intention of tell me about those high vibrational um, moments and feelings I have experienced. The joy, the laughter, sense of love, peacefulness, whatever. Just make sure it's the stuff that you have been wanting to move towards. Let that be felt in the body versus allowing your mind to go towards more um, lower vibrational aspects of things that have happened to you. So it's about flipping the script in your mind and your body, and actively working at it. Because the
Mm-hmm.
more you tap into your body memories of those very positive moments, experiences, feelings, the more that that's going to start radiating in your aura. And when it radiates in your aura, it attracts things way faster. You will always attract what's meant for you. But when you tap into those positive energies in your body on a daily basis, that's when your aura is going to start clearing out. And what's meant to be attracted to you will come faster. And sometimes it's going to come so fast that it maybe sweeps you off your feet. So make sure you're grounded, okay? Stay
Mm-hmm.
grounded. Yeah, I think that's it for today that they're telling me, unless you have any last questions.
um I just have a question. This is something that came up this week, and I'm still working on this. Um, and this is understanding for our collective journey. Um, this for everybody. I have experienced lots of targeting, and I actually had the clarity this week that that's actually a sign that we are getting really close to passing what we think. You know, we all talk about ascension and fifth dimension and all that. Um, but there is a moment when we have already entered quantum field, and actually in the quantum field, that's where the targeting happens, and that's why there is targeting. And it's not necessarily coming from the outside, it's actually coming from our inner draw, magnetic draw,
Mm-hmm.
where like we have these unresolved, situations,
Mm-hmm.
and that creates attack vector. And I firmly believe that we are going to get through some kind of a buffer zone and come on the other side of that. And I don't know if I'm supposed to know anything else about this, but I'm like looking if there is this factor,
Mm-hmm.
what is our like antidote to that? And is that like I feel that to create that new future, we really have to dream it. We have to put out the seeds of that new earth and that freedom and that
Mm-hmm.
spaciousness in front of us and go towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And um
So, so what I'm seeing is like you standing on, the crow's nest on a ship, right? Like way at the
mhm,
very top. I see you
mhm,
standing up there and watching everything. And so right now, collectively, the energy feels like we're, as light workers, as people that understand the concept of ascension and personal growth and transformation just in general of ourselves as well as the collective. But it feels like we are in a void right now observing a dismantling. And
mhm,
when things are dismantling, and
mhm,
when people who hold a lot of light within themselves, like you, um, are easily attacked, easily have like psychic attacks, easily people who are low vibrational are going to um, try and attach to you. And so, like, they're like, maybe if I hold on to her coattails, she'll bring her with me. But, a lot of people are meant to be left behind because they have their own work to do. Those are the people that it's like, well, you have to help yourself if you want to step into the void and keep moving through it, right? Um,
mhm,
I feel like that's kind of part of the
mhm,
targeting happening right now is that there are people that are trying to come with us to this a lot of people call it the new earth, is just a higher timeline. When we're in a void like this, a lot of times we are not only healing ourselves, but we are also ascending and jumping onto a different timeline where life is going to look completely different. And holding the faith and holding space for this dismantling to happen, um, is perfect. That's all you need to do. That's all any of us need to do is just ride through it. But on the personal level, for these targeting, any attacks you might get, any negative experiences or people coming at you, that's where the boundaries need to be maintained. So the boundaries you practice, those energetic boundaries that you practice with your clients, definitely do that now. And that's also part of the grounding. Like stay grounded, stay protecting your energy. Um, Does that make sense? Those are
Yeah,
the 2
that's my
big.
that's my feeling. My feeling is that the holy grail of getting through this, it's all about nervous system regulation. It's like
Yes.
super focused on the nervous system regulation, forget astral travel and all these like
Oh,
psychedelics and
yeah.
whatnot, like you are not going to shortcut to this by going through the astral because astral is not correct pathway.
No,
Um,
and right now, because we are in a dismantling and I have been targeted as well, so I'm sure there's a lot of us that have a similar story in this moment. The astral travel is actually super dangerous because those lower vibrational energies are out in the astral plane too. So when there's a great dismantling, it's best to stay in body, right?
Exactly. That's what the thing is. People think that getting into 5D is like we are just going to enter these unicorn and rainbows,
Yeah,
and
no.
people are waiting for like the aliens and whatnot, all these groups, they are welcoming us. We
Mm,
are battling with alien energies. They are good groups, they are bad groups. Like when we enter on our way to 5D and higher dimensions, we are actually entering, like we have to deal with this because a lots of our karma comes from war in heaven, which
yes.
was multidimensional war.
Mm. Yes, that's deep. That's definitely deep. Um, and that's why when we do enter the 5D, 7D planes, um, it's important to have a spirit guide with you. Never go alone, because these spirit guides already have access to the knowledge in those planes. And so when you go with them, there'll be definitely more protection. But right now is not really the time to it's okay to step into those planes, and experience it and maybe learn something, but not to stay there. Because you're absolutely right. There are these energies there's like a push and pull right now, especially the earthly planet. There a lot of the other planets out there really aren't as harsh as Earth. But then there's other planets where it's definitely super negative, a lot of evil stuff going on, and there's a battle between all of that. And it's in the earthly atmosphere, right? Or the Earth's auric field.
We
So
are
when I
ground zero. We are ground zero because this
yeah,
is mother of everything domicile planet. This is a goddess domicile planet. We are a
mhm,
library of the universe. We are
yes,
ground zero.
yes. And that's why it's important to at this time, at least I'm hearing um through spring to not spend a lot of time outside of the body, stay embodied. Like for me right now, even though I am able to tap into your energy, your soul story, um, and communicate with your higher self, I feel my body. I still have remained, I still have my energetic boundaries up. And so I can feel from head to toe no matter what. It's more about this third eye consciousness. I let it come out and sit right here instead of having it in my head. I just let it sit right here and then I watch it, I experience it, and I translate it. And that keeps me protective from those other outside energies coming in. Does that make sense? That's just kind of how I flow with it. You may have your own techniques. We all have our own techniques. Um,
Mm-hmm,
but I have
mm-hmm,
found for myself that's the safest way to do that without actually stepping into like my whole letting my whole light body step into another plane.
mm-hmm.
Because right now it's not safe to be in those places for extended periods of time. Even though maybe at times I definitely want to because I love being in those places. But it's not the time because collectively it is intense and strange, and divine timing is in place too. If we're meant to be in the void for a while we see the dismantling, and then um, also energetically be part of the transition into a society that is starting to get along, be on the same page. Um,
Mhm,
it's okay for us to stay in the void.
mhm.
It's a little longer, and divine timing will tell us when it's time to step out and really just here we are. But in the meantime, that's where we stay the course, keep doing what we're doing, stay our authentic selves, whether it's, someday having a great day, another day not so great, it doesn't matter. As long as you stay true to yourself. Those two things are super important, as well as having boundaries, especially boundaries when it comes to your values. Your core values are so important to maintain, and allow um, that to be part of your boundaries. Like, oh, hey, you are starting to cross my boundary. And the reason why I know that is because I have a specific value and belief that is a part of me, and you cannot ever change that. You cannot ever, convince me of something else that is my core value, right? And so, when we have opinions about things, or maybe judgments about things, and then we have a conversation with someone, that's where our mind can, be open and flexible and be like, oh, I see your point. Maybe that is a good point. I could take that on. But those core values should never be. I think that's it for today. I am going to send Reiki to your soul, to the Akashic Records, for all your blessings to arrive in perfect timing, for you to see your blessings, accept them, and work with them in perfect timing. And until then, you will start expressing your story, sharing your story, and finding strength from your story. Okay. All right. I'm moving towards your door and closing it right now. Archangel Metatron is sealing it for us and blessing. And now I'm consciously coming back to this room, this time, this space. Okay. Ah, I'm back officially.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a beautiful reading.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so, so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your participation as well. Um, this was some big stuff. So, um, good job. That's some
Thank
big.
you. I appreciate your offer in this reading, and Godspeed to your work.
Thank you. And yours as well. Yours as well. I know you're doing big work too and help a lot of people. So thank you. Thank you in
Thank
that.